feel stressed now? Jen, do you?
Hello my exciting Keiths, my name is Patrick and welcome to Fun with First Names, where each week we look into the meaning, origin and some extra fun facts behind one specific first name. And this week we're looking into the first name of Jennifer. Though before we begin, actually I haven't thought about plugging anything this episode. There's a book, I'm sure you know about it by now. Go look at that if you want to. Yeah, keep this short. Though of course I always want to promote my Patreon and thank the patrons who become a patron in the most recent week. This includes Carefree Courtney and Scooby Snacks. Zoinks, Jinkies, whatever I was supposed to say to that one. Thank you guys both so much for becoming patrons. Patreon helps out Name Explain in the best way possible. If you want to become a patron, there'll be a link down below. Patreon.com/NameExplain. $1 a month helps out in a huge, huge way. Extra content, ad-free videos, all that kind of good stuff. Go look into it for yourself, guys. But anyway, on with today's name of Jennifer. And Jennifer is a name that has a really interesting history. It's literally gone from the highest of highs to the lowest of lows. Like, I'm not joking, this whole article is about the history of this name and how it's gone from high to low, and there'll be a link down below, so go read those for yourself. This once beloved, extremely popular name now seems to be seriously disliked, especially by Jennifers themselves. But I just need to stress I'm talking in broad strokes here. Like, this doesn't apply to every Jennifer ever or everyone ever. I actually personally quite like the name Jennifer. I think it's quite nice, but I know there's other people who don't, as we're going to talk about. Just don't take everything I'm saying as gospel, basically. I always like to talk in broad strokes here because if you go into the minutiae of everything, it kind of gets a bit boring or a bit as uninteresting. We like to go for big broad strokes here, but that isn't the case. Go let me know about the name down below, your thoughts on it, as I mentioned in this video as well. As I always do at the end of these videos, let me know your thoughts on these names. Let's just say that at the beginning of this one, shall we? Because what I'm going to say about the name Jennifer probably doesn't apply to everyone, definitely doesn't apply to everyone, and may probably not apply to you too. Also, this is a very American-centric video. What I'm going to say about the name much more applies to America than other parts of the world. In the UK, kind of as well. In Canada, kind of what seems to be a thing here, but this is mainly a USA-based video. Cool? Cool. But where did this name come from initially? Well, like many names we covered here on Fun with First Names, Jennifer is initially a Welsh name. And in Welsh, it was initially Gwenfredoir. I think I'm pronouncing that right. I checked Forvo. Go check Forvo for yourself. It's written here. Go type that into Forvo and see how to pronounce it. But that's kind of similar. My Welsh pronunciation isn't too great. However, when that name arrived from Wales into Cornwall, which is the most southern point county in the UK, if you're wondering what Cornwall is, really lovely part of the country, go visit if you haven't already, this name became Jennifer. Yeah, Jennifer is just the Cornish version of this Welsh name. And the name simply means things like white phantom or blessed, just the sort of usual white sort of name. We have a lot of names that mean white. I think we've covered Gwen in an earlier video. That probably has similar meanings to it. But yeah, it just means sort of simple, nice stuff like that. It's a pretty name with a pretty meaning, at least I think so anyway. Interestingly enough, that Welsh name actually got adapted by the Normans when they came over in 1066, and that gave us the name Guinevere too. So both Jennifer and Guinevere come from that same initial Welsh name. And what's interesting is that the name of Jennifer primarily stayed in Cornwall for quite some time. It wasn't until the early 20th century where it really started to spread out of Cornwall. One of the first contributors to the popularity of the name Jennifer was with a play called The Doctor's Dilemma, released in 1902. Did I write that down here? I think it was 1902. I forgot to add the date in my notes. I think it came out in 1902. Let's go over that. And this play, The Doctor's Dilemma, featured a Jennifer. And this play became popular, as did the name with it. And the next big step in this name becoming popular came in the 1940s with the American actress of Jennifer Jones. She appeared in lots of her 40s golden age Hollywood films, and because actresses' names often become popular baby names, that was the example here. Jennifer Jones helped popularize the name Jennifer in America. Though the name really blew up in popularity in the 1970s, 1970 itself to be exact. It was in that year of 1970 that the film Love Story came out, which of course once again featured a character called Jennifer, and this film just blew up into popularity and fame, and with it took the name Jennifer too. And it's this film that is really credited with popularising the name Jennifer and boosting it into the stratosphere. From 1970 until 1984, Jennifer was the #1 popular most girls name in the USA. That's 15 years of popularity. And there have been names that have been more popular for longer, but Jennifer's just really struck a chord with people. It's been this really popular name for quite a long period of time, quite a definitive period of time. The entire 70s, an entire decade, was marked with Jennifer. And then the early half of the next decade, the early half of the 80s as well. Just Jennifer really captured the moment. too many, Jennifer is seen as this quintessential 70s girl's name, at least in America anyway. However, by 1984, the name just plummeted in popularity across the world and it hasn't really picked up momentum since. Jennifer's been on a downward trajectory ever since 1984. Poor Jennifers. Poor Jennifers. And all those Jennifers of the 70s and early 80s have grown up, and many of them really dislike this name, it seems. One article I read about the name Jennifer referred to this as the Jennifer epidemic, and it even mentioned websites where Jennifers would congregate to discuss how much they hate their name and wish they weren't called Jennifer. I couldn't find this website myself. I longed to search for this website where all the Jennifers go. It's like in the end, it's my Ark of the Covenant. If someone can help me find it, let me know, that'd be really handy, thank you. And by 1988, a baby name book was published called Beyond Jennifer and Jason, and this just goes to show you how popular and overused the name had become. It could be used as just a generic de facto baby name in the name of a baby name book. That's maybe the most times I've said the word name in a single sentence. Probably said it more though, I talk about names quite a lot, you know. I even found a BuzzFeed article called 17 Things Only People Named Jennifer Will Understand. And I mean, there's an article on everything for BuzzFeed, so that might not be too much evidence, but I thought that was interesting. And that aforementioned Jennifer epidemic article had a really great quote saying, parents don't want something that sounds exactly like every other name. If they have 10 friends who have named their kids Jennifer, they're not going to pick the name Jennifer. And that just sums things up perfectly in my eyes. Us humans, we love to be unique and interesting. It's drilled into us at such an early age to be unique, be different, and who can blame them? Being different is cool, like there's nothing wrong with being different. And one of the ways we express our uniqueness is in the names we use, and that includes the names we give to our children. The only issue, however, is everyone's trying to be unique, so this happens amongst every person, and Jennifer is a prime example of this. Jennifer became this really trendy name in the 70s, and everyone thought it was a really unique, cool name, so everyone used it. Names that become popular often reach this breaking point where they're so popular and so used they kind of stop being popular anymore. This is so common with trends. We see things being disliked just because they're popular in the world of fashion and music, and names are no different from this. Names can become trendy and popular and then plummet because of their popularity, and that's what seems to have happened with Jennifer. Do not be surprised if there's a lot of angry Olivers and Olivias in about 20 years time if that name's popularity is anything to go by, but who might say? Maybe there's already angry Olivers and Olivias already, or maybe they're just still little tiny babies. Are babies that big? I don't know, I haven't seen a baby in a while. It's been a while. Nowadays, Jennifer is the 434th most popular girl's name in the USA, and like I said, it is just plummeting in popularity. It doesn't seem to be picking up momentum anytime soon. Maybe it will become trendy again in a few years' time, but for now, Jennifer's on the way out. Sorry, Jen. And here in the UK, it's the 431st most popular girl's name, so pretty similar to its American counterpart, it seems. Like I said, Jennifer isn't coming up anytime soon, and that's sad maybe. Maybe we should have more Jennifers about, or maybe there's too many Jennifers. Clearly there might be too many Jennifers already, it seems. And what's really fun is that most of the famous Jennifers today are really of this time. They're children of the 70s or late 60s or early 80s. And this of course includes the likes of Jennifer Lopez, the famous musician and actress. I think she does both. Yeah. Hips don't lie, or was that Shakira? That was Shakira. Sorry, the Super Bowl thing. I kind of get them mixed up because they both did a really cool Super Bowl thing. Anyway, there's also Jennifer Aniston from Friends, and also I'm watching The Morning Show at the moment. Go watch The Morning Show, really interesting. But of course there are some younger Jennifers as well, like Jennifer Lawrence, Hunger Games star, among many stars of many other things. She's Mystique in those few films that she really didn't want to be in. You could just tell she's phoning it in. And of course, in regards to fictional Jennies, there's of course my personal favourite, Officer Jenny from the Pokemon series. Although personally, I was more of a Nurse Joy man myself. That's way too much information. You don't need to know what child Patrick was into. That's weird. Anyway, that's way more than enough about the name Jennifer, but what are your thoughts on this name? Do you like it? Do you dislike it? You know anyone with the name Jennifer? Are you called Jennifer yourself? Let me know down in the comments below. I really look forward to hearing about this one. And of course, I want to share some of your thoughts on last week's name of Cameron. Cameron Streeter said, as a Cameron myself, I always tell people it means crooked river and completely diss the more popular meaning, lol. So that is interesting. I think you should reclaim that crooked nose meaning. Run with it, Cameron, or use whatever meaning you prefer. Do what you want to do. Who am I to tell you what to do with names? You do you. Kenai Kukwim, sorry if I mispronounced that, said, Kennedy means ugly head. Claudius is lame, and Callius, or Cecil, Cecily, Cecilia, means blind. So Cecil Claude Kennedy is a bad way. Yes, they are in a bad way. Sorry, I mispronounced that. They are in a bad way, that's for sure. That's not a good position to be in, but of course, just because what your name means doesn't always mean what exactly you are. I mean, I think Patrick means patrician or nobleman or something. That ain't me, Chief. That ain't me. And Duncan DeWare said, no love for Ferris Bueller's Friend as a fictional Cameron. You want to know something? I've never seen Ferris Bueller's Day Off. It's just never come up really. I've heard good things about it. Of course I've heard good things about it. But from what I've heard, Ferris is a bit of a not nice bloke. I'll say that. That seems to be a consensus. But I've never seen the film. Maybe I'll watch it tonight. Who knows? Go suggest some names down in the comments below and I'll pick 3 of those to be voted on a poll exclusively for my patrons to vote on for the next Fun with First Names video. So if you enjoy the channel, want to help support it and have a say in what names get explained, then please do consider becoming a patron. As I said at the start, this $1 a month helps in a huge way. You get to help choose what names get explained. As I said, about 2/3 of my weekly content, no, not about, 2/3 of my weekly content is decided primarily by patrons, so that helps out tremendously. You get ad-free videos. I upload all my videos to a secret patron-only channel, Unlisted, where you can watch them ad-free without all the annoying ads I put in the middle of these videos to earn that money. And I also do exclusive content on there. There's a podcast on there called Name News, where I cover all the name news from the month just past. That's monthly, and there's also a weekly blog post where I just talk about behind-the-scenes stuff, do a weekly Q&A, all kinds of stuff like that, all written for you to read at your own leisure. You don't have to listen to my annoyed voice, you just read my words, which is so much better, trust me. Go check it out, patreon.com/nameexplain, link down below. You know what to do. But anyway, that's more than enough for myself. Don't forget to go follow me on Instagram, where I'm NameExplainYT, and don't forget to go join the Facebook group, Friends of Name Explain. Okay guys, take care. Thank you.